Janitor didn't wipe my nose, but he did wipe out 20 years of groundbreaking research. That son of a bitch. It says a cleaner unwittingly destroyed over 20 years of groundbreaking research by switching off a laboratory freezer in a U.S. university that had been emitting an annoying alarm sound, it has been claimed in a lawsuit. The legal filing says that the janitor, who is not being sued in the lawsuit, tried to stop the repetitive beeping noise by hitting it with a hammer. Oh no, by switching off the freezer while working at the site in 2020. Is claiming damages in excess of $1 million from the cleaner's employer, Dago Cleaning Systems Incorporated, whom the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and I'm sure I got that first one way wrong, in upstate New York, says failed to adequately train the contractor. Yeah, don't touch shit that you don't understand. Pretty simple rule. The defendant, by and through its negligent, careless, and or reckless supervision and control of the janitor, caused damage to certain cell structures, samples, and or research in the lab, the university claimed. The suit also states that sensitive samples contained in the freezer were required to be kept at precise temperatures and that an alarm had begun to sound to notify staff of a small fluctuation. Scientists determined that the minute change in temperature was not enough to affect the samples. University staff identified that the freezer required attention on or around September 14, 2020, the lawsuit claims, and left a note informing janitorial staff that the freezer's manufacturer would be arriving to perform repairs. This freezer is beeping as it is under repair, a note left by the freezer read, according to the suit. Please do not move or unplug it. No cleaning required in this area. You can press the alarm/test mute button for 5 to 10 seconds if you would like to mute the sound. On September 17, in response to what he would later call annoying alarms, the janitor mistakenly assumed that the circuit breakers that provided electricity to the freezer were off, and that this was the source of the alarm. However, he then unknowingly switched the breakers from on to off, it was claimed. The next day, researchers discovered that the freezer had been switched off and its temperature had risen from around negative 80 degrees Celsius to negative 32 degrees Celsius, which had compromised, destroyed, and rendered unsalvageable more than 20 years of research, according to the lawsuit. One sentence at the end has all of the gold in it. One single sentence. I find that amazing. They just, kind of barely mention this. The work being conducted by the research team was centered around capturing and converting solar rays into usable energy. If I am not mistaken, this would have been the experiment in which they came up with it's like some kind of a moss. And it can grow on your roof and they can somehow collect electricity from it. I have no idea how it works. I read an article in a magazine about it. I mean, over a decade ago, at least 15, possibly between 15 and 20 years ago, I read the article. It's been a minute. And I haven't been able to find that article ever since, but it's I think it's like a moss that grows. And again, I don't know the details about it, but from my understanding, it was extremely promising looking. It put out very impressive amounts of energy, and it was it was a matter of testing, right? So, well, I mean, that should have said something. 20 years. So, yeah, that would have been, I just thought about that. They said 20 years of research. So, yeah, that would have put it right about right. So, crazy. And people wonder why we can't get anywhere. Because none of these, 20 years ago, I'm curious how many people, not only watching this live, but later in a recording, how many of you had even heard of that technology before? But yet it's been around for 20 years. That's not happenstance. That's not coincidence. You have to be a geek to know this stuff. And I just had to be a geek that had to wait for somebody in a doctor's office. I saw the thing on the magazine, the headline on the magazine, I picked it up. I couldn't refuse reading that. Just frustrating. When there's hemp graphene battery technologies that makes our battery technologies we are currently using today look like a joke that could be put into production right now. But no. And it's frustrating because the answers are out there. The products, the devices, what have you, technologies, they're already out there. They're just not let loose. What Elon Musk did with the Tesla was groundbreaking when it came to electric vehicles. And he continues, and I'm not an Elon Musk fan by any means, but he continues to push forward in that type of technology and is making leaps and bounds in that direction. If he could have a better battery technology to work with, holy cow, he could put out a vehicle that, and I know that there's one, I think that they said supposed to be able to make it across the country. I don't know, or they were working on it. But if he was able to have a hemp graphene battery in his Tesla, he could very likely drive from one side of the country to the other, no problem. Deep South Homestead put out a video. I don't know if it was this morning I watched it, or I think it was this morning. Could have been yesterday morning. It's one of his porch times. And I just happened to catch it. That the title of it's what drug me in. And, it's the same thing. He's talking about people, what was the title of it? Hang on. I'm pretty sure it was today. Hang on. Be quicker if I go to my history. I do watch a few videos throughout the day. Here we go. Don't Defend the System was the name of it. Don't Defend the System. And he is more or less talking about, government and their ways of doing things. And I say the very same thing when it comes to energy, whether it be big oil or what have you, any of it. It's pretty crazy. It really truly is. How far we could be if they let us go. Computer technology would be exponentially faster. Yes, they're actually holding us back. They have years and years of quote-unquote advancements already planned out just to string you along. It's insane. It really, truly is. Anywho, I will certainly be keeping my radar on for any more information involving this. I just find it amazing that one sentence at the very, very, very end, and they didn't even really say much about it. I just happened to catch that, and I'm like, wait a minute.